Hey everybody, what's going on? Today I want to try to answer a question that I get asked relatively frequently, and it's a pretty good question, so I think it deserves a little bit of a conversation. And the question is, which arena towers should you max first? Is there a particular order of operations here as far as maxing your towers? And on one hand, it is fairly subjective. It can be, but I think it gets a little more subjective as you progress. I think in the beginning, the first thing you want to do, my recommendation, is the guard stone. I didn't do this on my main account. I did do it on my free-to-play. The reason you want to go ahead and get the guard stone out of the way is because most of the time you're going to be working towards the Tricaru team, and hitting the defense threshold for that is difficult. You need a lot of extra defense. If you're using no determination sets and you have a maxed guard stone and a level 21 guild, I think you still need plus 2,381 defense to have the team work on every one of your Icarus. That's how much you need. That's a lot. That's a lot of defense. You need solid rolls on your 3 and 5 runes. You need 6-star, 2, 4, 6 defense percentage. You need a lot. Having an extra 20% across the board makes that so much more manageable. Without, let me check real quick. I think there's a chart that says without or without the guard tower. Let me see. Let me see if I have that handy. Yeah, so if you have a level 0 defense tower and no determination sets, you need plus 2,528 defense. So maxing your guard tower eliminates a lot of defense, right? Takes you down to needing only plus 2,381. That's with no determination sets and a level 21 guild. So it's a good idea to go ahead and get this maxed so that you're not adding levels to it in the midst of trying to build your Tricaru team. It's good to just get it done. Then it's done. Then when you're ready, you can start building the team and you don't have to think about it anymore. It's a really good candidate for the first tower you build. I think a good second tower to focus on is the speed totem. I think having more speed on your champs, units, monsters, whatever you want to call them, everywhere in the game is handy. And again, just to be clear, these apply to every bit of content in the game. Your arena towers don't just apply to arena, they apply to everything. So the speed tower is a big help, especially earlier in the game, when you probably aren't getting a lot of speed subs, a lot of good speed rolls. This is going to help a little bit, right? It adds 15% speed to everyone, which is roughly 15 speed. It basically adds roughly 15 speed to everybody's base speed, because that's what these affect, is the base stat, right? And everybody's got roughly 100 speed, so everybody's getting roughly a 15-point bump in their speed from this. Really, really good candidate for a second max, okay? Now from here, this is where it starts to get a little bit more interesting and maybe a little bit harder to make decisions. So what I did, I was trying to get the damage up on my Tricaru. I wanted more damage output to, 1, make the run reliable, and 2, speed it up a little bit as possible. So the best thing for me to do, I thought, here was the attack tower next, because that gave not only my Verd attack, but also my Icaru's attack. So that was not a bad candidate for me. I also put some levels into the fire tower. I kind of spread it around. Put some levels into the water tower. The crit damage tower is also really nice. So it's going to depend what your gear is looking like. You'll have to watch your Tricaru, because that's kind of what this is centered around, at least what it was centered around for me on my main account, and what it will be centered around on my free-to-play, is getting the Tricaru team to work. Because once that starts working, you've got your roughly 1 minute or so dragon team, and then it also works in Necro, and then if you've got the Light Griffin, you can do that as well. And it's really important to get that done, because then you can start farming. Right now on my free-to-play, for example, I'm running, I think, roughly 3 to 4 minute Dragon 12. When I get my Tricaru done, it'll be closer to a minute. I'll be pulling in runes a lot faster. The quicker you get that done, the better it is for your account, because you start getting a lot of access to violent runes and some of the solid rune sets you can get from Dragon, and then also Necro, right? So you kind of have to gauge your own situation. You'll have to watch runs and see what you think you could benefit from the most. Obviously, most of your damage is coming from Verd in Tricaru, so it probably isn't a bad idea to hit the crit damage tower. He's going to be 100 crit rate. Having an extra 25% crit damage on him is really going to up his damage. So crit damage is not a bad option for your third tower. But I think good towers to keep an eye on are crit damage and attack. And then once attack is done, then you can start to hone in on one of these, right? And it's probably not a bad idea to lean more heavily into Verd. I think what I might do, given my situation with gear after we build the team on the free-to-play, I might just start off going full crit damage. I think crit damage is going to give him the most damage the quickest. Then I'll probably go attack. Then I'll probably go fire attack. Then I'll probably go water attack. Okay? So that's probably going to be my pattern. So to recap from the beginning, Guardstone first is my recommendation, followed by Sky Tribe Totem second. Those I think are pretty clear-cut, easy things, because the speed tower is also going to help your Tricaru, right? But makes everybody a little bit faster, helps you sneak in more turns before you take a turn against you, right? Then I'm probably going to say crit damage is not bad for Verd. Also helps anybody else that you're building crit stuff on. Then probably regular attack, because that affects all 3 units on the team. Then I think fire is not a bad option to go next, because again, most of our damage is coming from Verd, so the higher we can pump that up, the better off he's going to be. And then the water tower to help our Icarus contribute more damage, because over time we do want to, while maintaining their defense and all the other stats that they need to function in this team, we do also want to try to get their attack up over time as well, so that they can contribute to the damage. So the water tower is going to help you do that. Beyond that, it's pretty up in the air. I did the wind tower for my Lucian, among other things. I feel like I had another reason I was doing the wind tower, but I did the wind tower, and then now I'm doing the Crystal Altar, which is HP, and then I'm going to do my Light and Dark Sanctuary. And the reason I'm doing these last is because I don't need them. I have Shan, but most of his damage is coming off of his speed, and I have the Dark Unicorn, and most of her damage is coming off her HP. So I don't really need these yet. I'm not really using anybody where I really need these. Maybe even Shaman, he's doing max HP damage, you know what I mean? He's doing plenty of damage. He doesn't need any more. So I'm hitting my HP tower next, and then I'm going to do my Light Dark, and then the rest of them really don't matter. Like, I'll max these all too, but these don't really matter that as much, right? The important one is the Guardstone, then the Speed Tower, and then anything that's going to contribute to your damage for Tricaru. In my opinion, that's important. I hit my Wind Tower for my Lucian, and then I'm doing HP, and then I'll max my Light Dark, and then I'll come back and pick up all the Arcane boosters and all these, ones that are less important. Back in the day, it's kind of funny. Back in the day, it was really important to get your Sanctum of Energy and Mysterious Plant maxed, because energy wasn't quite as readily available, so you would just run out of energy, and that would be that. So it was really important to get these done so you could play more, but it's not really the case anymore. Someone in my Discord said they've from the event, they've been going crazy in the event. They've got like 70,000 energy in their storage. So there's plenty of energy available, so that's not as necessary. But that's it. That's just my quick thoughts on the towers, kind of the immediate thought process behind them. Obviously, they're impacting more. Your water and fire and all these things are doing you good everywhere for all of the units. But I think a big focus on it early on is what's going to contribute to the success of the Tricaru team, which most people are going to be working toward. So that's kind of the thought process I followed with it. So hopefully this gives you a little insight, helps you decide kind of which towers you want to go for. And if you have any extra thoughts on it you would like to drop below, please do so. I'm getting out of here. Appreciate you guys. Later.